Hi everyone, my name is Terry Westphal and today is Tuesday, which means it's time to discuss our book of the week, which is Daughter of No Worlds by Carissa Broadbent. First, this is a spoiler-free section, so if you haven't read this book yet, don't worry about it. It won't be spoiled for you here. There will be some spoiler-related things that I want to discuss, but that'll be later on in the video, and you will get plenty of warning. If you'd like to join in on any of the discussions, send me your thoughts, comments, or even a short video clip of you discussing the book, then I'll list the next upcoming 4 books in the description below. I went into this one with such high expectations. I loved Carissa Broadbent's Serpent and the Wings of Night. I thought that the world was rich, the characters were layered, and yet it was still super easy to read. I loved her mix of magic, romance, and moral complexity. And while I did enjoy Daughter of No Worlds, it didn't capture me as much as I'd hoped it would. I rated this one 3.75 stars. That to me means that it's a book that was good, I enjoyed it, and I am glad that I read it. However, it's not one that completely had me hooked. And I do want to clarify that I did really enjoy this one. I liked the concept and the themes, and as always, I liked how the author's writing style was nice and easy to read. I just think that she's got a really accessible tone. I think that it's not overly complicated, but it's still immersive and descriptive. I think it's the kind of writing that you can just sort of fall into without having to go back and reread paragraphs to figure out what the hell's going on, which in a fantasy I really appreciate. That being said, I just didn't gel very well with the characters or the pacing of this one. Okay, so quick summary without any spoilers. This book follows a young woman who is enslaved, and her goal is to earn back her freedom and go to this magical guild where she can train and use her magic to make a difference. When she earns back her freedom and travels there, she discovers that the guild and the people in it aren't exactly what she expected. She ends up training under Max, a powerful and somewhat grumpy mage with a tragic past, and together they're dragged into a web of politics, rebellion, and danger as a war looms over the kingdom. It's kind of got everything that you would expect from a fantasy romance. It's got magic systems, political intrigue, trauma and healing, as well as a slow burn relationship between two broken people. If I had to compare this to any other book, I would probably say that it sits somewhere between Guild and Rose in Chains, but with much softer edges. Although I would say that those books are a lot darker and more intense, although Daughter of No Worlds definitely explores some similar sort of topics and issues, I would say that it's a lot less graphic. So it has its dark moments, but it's not a dark fantasy in the same way that those books are. It's more of a balance between an emotional fantasy and a romantic character development. For me, the issue was the pacing. I mean, from the beginning, it was great. It grabbed me immediately. I liked the setup and the sense of danger, and the stakes were high. Also, the ending, also really strong, but somewhere in the middle, it just kind of lost me. Like, it almost felt like we were stalling, waiting for something significant to happen. Like, yes, there was some character development happening, but I don't know, it didn't really feel like it was building to anything. And I think because of that, I found my attention starting to drift. Now, I don't mind a slow burn. I mean, I absolutely love fast-paced and intense, but I do like it when a fantasy takes its time to build. I just feel like this one needed a little bit more tension in the middle. I mean, that balance between quiet character development and plot movement just wasn't really there for me. Like, there were some concepts that were introduced later on in the book that I thought was really interesting and had a lot of potential, but I just wish they would spend more time exploring it. Like, I kind of wish that there was more on the training and the magic system and how all of that worked. So as for the main character, I did like her, but I didn't love her. I mean, she's certainly strong, brave, and determined, which I do really appreciate, but I think that her version of strong isn't the type that I really connect with. I guess I was just expecting someone a little bit more abrasive, someone with sharper edges and more defiance, whereas I think that her strengths are quieter and more emotional. Like, it's still powerful, it's just not the sort of energy that I tend to be drawn to with my fantasy heroines. That said, I think the ending really brought it all together for me. I think the emotional payoff was really worth it, and overall I'm really glad that I read it. So as for the question, would I recommend the book? Yes, absolutely, but with the right expectations. If you like a fantasy that's more slow burn, character driven and emotional rather than action heavy, then you'll probably really enjoy this one. The world building is good, it's a really interesting concept, and Carissa Broadbent's writing is really nice and easy to read. Like, it was a solid fantasy romance, it just wasn't an absolute page turner for me. So will I be reading any more by Carissa Broadbent? Absolutely, without a doubt. This one might not have hit all the marks for me, but I still really enjoyed it, and I loved A Serpent and the Wings of Night, so I know how much of a talented author Carissa Broadbent is, and I will absolutely be reading more of her work. So earlier on in the video I said that you get plenty of warning for any upcoming spoilers. This is that moment, so if you haven't read this book yet, I would suggest going doing that first, because beyond this point there will absolutely be spoilers. Okay, so I've already kind of discussed the main character, but with Max, I liked him, I just didn't feel much for him. Like, he's clearly been through a lot, and I appreciate that his trauma wasn't just brushed over, but at the same time, I just wasn't as, like, invested in him as I wish I was. Like, there was some chemistry there between the two characters, I just didn't root for them as much as I would have liked. The ending was definitely my favourite. I mean, learning more about the Order and what their true motives are certainly gave it more weight. Like, I really liked that sense of betrayal and moral conflict, and I think it just added so much more to the story. When that weapon element finally came into play, I do feel like everything started clicking into place, and it was definitely that moment of tension that I felt like I was waiting so long for. I do just wish that we'd gotten there a little faster and explored it a little more fully. I think the main character's emotional journey was really satisfying in the end. I think that she definitely started coming into her own power and saw herself more than just her past or her trauma. I think that her relationship with Max was definitely one that I appreciated more towards the end. I think they were both very broken people with their own personal trauma, and I think that mirrored growth worked really well. I just didn't feel their emotional tension as much as I thought I was going to. But overall, I do feel like the book's strengths lie in the emotional payoff and the theme of power, freedom, and identity. But the pacing and the character connection just stopped it from being a 5-star read for me. Overall, I did enjoy Daughter of No Worlds. I thought that it was a well-written fantasy with some really interesting concepts. I just wish that it had more momentum and character depth in the middle. Still, I'm really glad that I read it, and I'll probably continue with the rest of the series. But let me know what you thought. Did you enjoy the book? Next week we're discussing A Demon's Guide to Wooing a Witch by Sarah Hawley, so don't forget to get your thoughts and comments in by Sunday at the latest to be a part of the discussion. You can now do this on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram or Discord. The following week will be Rewitched, but don't forget, if you do need a little bit longer to read a book, we do now list the next 4 books down below along with the discussion dates. That way you can choose the genre that best suits you and the best time frame to read it in. Thank you all for joining, and if you like this video, please don't forget to like and subscribe, it's always appreciated, and I will see you next week. Bye! If you like romance, fantasy, or even thriller, basically anything fiction book related, then I suggest you head on over to the channel's intro video, where you can find out more information on how you can take part in this online book club. We announce books at least 4 weeks in advance, and we accept your bookish feedback in a wide manner of ways. Post your comment below a video, send in a voice note, or even send me a short video clip of you discussing the book. Alternatively, you can just send me a direct message.